Okay, yeah, let's get started. I'm eager to hear what you have to say. So, welcome everybody. It's General Advaita Q&A that Binda's doing with us because we're not starting the next Upanishad till next week. If anyone's listening to replays, there's always rooms in this house on Wednesday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST. Welcome everyone, and let's just get started. Go ahead, Shrini.
Yeah, just a simple, little bit technical kind of question. Uh, is it correct to say that the Padartha Shodhana is a necessary prerequisite before an Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma kind of experience? Is it mandatory? Is it right to say that it's a mandatory thing to do or not necessary, Bindoji? That was the question I had.
It's not necessary. Padartha Shodhana means inquiry into the object. Inquiry into the object is the prerequisite for even to know what is Brahman. Right? Then only the Sarvam Khalidam Brahma comes into operation at all. So but you can't do each object inquiry and then think that you can arrive at Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. That will not work. First you have to find out the Brahman through you being part of the Khaluidam Brahma, Sarvam. You are also part of the Sarvam, no? So you don't have to inquire outwardly or into the objects. You find out who you are or what you are, then you will know that you are nothing but that Satchitananda Surupa Brahman. And that, if you are that, everything else will be that, because it is a common source of creation. So whether it's apparent or real doesn't matter. In either case, it is coming from the same source. So objective inquiry will definitely has to start with you as the object, first object.
Yeah. Of course, not in each and every object, but like Tat Padartha and Tvam Padartha, that kind, at least at a macro level, that can we say it is mandatory to do that sadhana? Or?
That is required because, you have to arrive at who you are. The Tat Padartha and Tvam Padartha are basically that and you are one. Then only thou are that will become a realization. So once it becomes a realization, then only you will be able to arrive at that Sarvam Kalidam Brahma.
Yeah, because I think sometimes it is even possible to have that kind of without complete shodhana, with a viparyaya or samshaya also. I think that statement, just because if it is Mahavakya, it is accepted sometimes. But anyway, thanks Bindoji. I think I got the answer.
Yeah.
Namaste, Binduji.
Namaste.
Yesterday, there was a talk about Maya being anirvachaniya. Why is it said so? And on surface, it feels like just to make the other person quiet, this reason is given. Can you explain it? Well, I have some faint idea, but it will be better if I get some clarity from you.
Is it that I was getting the breaking voice, or everybody also had the same problem? Is it
My voice is breaking up.
Okay. Yeah, because I couldn't hear your complete question. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, I could hear it pretty clearly. So I'll just say that he was saying that there was a room yesterday where Maya was explained as an Nirvachaniya, and that he felt that that was sort of dismissive to quiet the question in the first place, and he wondered if you could make the distinction or explain the relation. Is that right, Sat?
Yes, Artemisha.
Okay. Maya is told as Anirvachaniya because in all methods, you cannot pin it to anything. Neither from the source where it has created, nor the as an effect where it is being felt, it is intangible or not in a position to, fixate it with any qualifications. It is there, at the same time it is not there. That is the typical definition of Maya. Ya sa Maya. That which is there, yet it is not there. So what is like that? Definitely because it is there means the effect is felt. It being a cause, the effect is felt. But when you start inquiring about it, you can't find it. So the cause is not there, yet when the effect is being felt, such a situation is called anirvachaniya, as the source is indescribable, or you cannot fixate it anywhere. That is how it is to be understood. Now this is very specific to Advaita, because the example which we use normally is the rope and the snake. The snake is not there, yet the scare of the snake, by thinking that the rope is snake, is a reality which the one who doesn't know the rope and he sees the snake in its place. So such a situation is called an anirvachaniya. The snake is anirvachaniya because it is not really there. At the same time, the effect of the snake is being felt. So that is why we're the anirvachaniya of this thing. Same way, the world is experienced and we all feel it is there really. But if you look at the source, why the world is being experienced, you cannot pinpoint the source or the cause from where the world has come. I'm not talking about what experience we have in the waking alone, but you have to take waking, dream and deep sleep as a totality of experience. Because many people, what they do is they just take the waking alone as a reality and then start explaining it. No, that will not happen. As an individual, I cannot say that my waking is only real, dream and deep sleep is not real. For me, to be a complete individual, I need to consider my waking, dream and deep sleep. So waking, dream and deep sleep, why it is happening, what is the source for it, all these things, if you look at it, the awareness cannot be from Brahman, because Brahman is Nirguna, Nirakara, Avyavahara, all those things, But at the same time, it is Brahman which itself is being felt, or as Atman is being felt as the waking, dream and deep sleep. So how can it happen? There the experiences are being felt as real because you don't know the reality of yourself. Just as we do not know our reality of our rope, which gave rise to the snake, here the non-realization of our true nature, we are assuming we are the body, we are the mind, we are the intellect, and therefore everything experienced by the body, mind and the intellect, the feeling, emotions and thoughts and the, sensory perception, sensory actions, all those things are appearing to be real because we do not know why we are feeling it to be real. That is why it is called anirvachaniya.
So did you want to follow up on that? Otherwise, I have a question on the same thing, but go ahead, please.
You can ask your question if it's on the same topic.
Yeah, it's
I
on
have
the same
something to say.
topic.
Okay.
Okay, I will, but then please go ahead after that. Is, the way that Sat posed the question, would you say, Binduji, that anirvachaniya is in a way a characteristic or something you can say about Maya, but you could say other things too, such as, it can give rise to experience. I wonder, in other words, that those other aren't two words for the same thing. Anirvachaniya is being used as a partial description of Maya, or would you not say it that way?
And Vachaniya is being used as a description of Maya because what is Maya? I told you, it cannot be described. The indescribable nature of Maya is what is the word Anirvachaniya means. The literal translation is Nirvachana means definition. Anirvachana means indescribable or definite. You cannot definitely say what it is. That is why it is called Anirvachaniya. And Anirvachaniya, how do you know Anirvachaniya? Just simply you cannot say anything is Anirvachaniya or anything is indescribable. You have to say that I cannot say what it is, but I am having this, which is real. That way you have to say that that is indescribable because I cannot describe it, what caused it, Also that is the way in which Maya is being described as Anirvachaniya.
Sat, did you want to follow up at all?
Yes. One can say that there are people who know that there exists no difference between them and whatever else they perceive. So all experiences are the experience of the Brahman only. And then there are people who see the world as real. Now, when one starts to reason from where does all this comes from, it becomes inconclusive. Wouldn't it be right that we say that they are ignorant about their true nature, they do see the difference, but there is no other place than Brahman from where it could have come. Else, inconclusiveness will lead to saying that all this comes from nothingness. So, the layman's understanding of Maya, which is there, is that Maya is the creative power of God, that's Sagun Ishwar, Sagun Brahman. And although the objects are illusory, but it's for those who want to see a reason for it. Better than saying that it's coming from nothing, it's coming from Brahman only.
Okay. Everything that is being experienced, whether it is real or appearance, doesn't matter. It is in consciousness or awareness. I use the word awareness because that is convenient for me and I prefer that. Because consciousness, if I use the word consciousness, it becomes an abstract thing for many people. But whereas when I say awareness, they are able to relate to it. That is the reason why I am using the word awareness. But otherwise, ideally it should be used as consciousness. Because that is the nature of Brahman. Okay. Any experience, real or apparent, needs awareness for it to become an experience. Therefore, the integrate or inevitable part of any experience is awareness. And this is not specifically to one person, it is common for everyone. Therefore, there is a commonality of awareness or consciousness in all experiences. Now, it is not that the one who is experiencing has awareness or consciousness. It is felt even in the object that is being experienced or the experiences which are coming also has got awareness. The reason being that had it not had awareness or consciousness or, that nature in which it is becoming an experience, it would have never been experienced. A non-object, non-existent object can never give rise to awareness or experience. Therefore, the presence of awareness and existence go side by side. So the existence and awareness are the integral part of any object or any experience. And this is not exclusive for you or me or anyone. It is common to all. Why it is common to all or common thing? Because you become an experience to me, I become an experience to you. From that point of view also, all the objects in the world, Sarvam Khalidam Brahma, when that statement become true, because everything in this world is inevitable with existence and awareness. And that experience, as nowhere you have Maya or indescribable aspect, where you can pinpoint that it has come from nothing. If it had been nothing, no, you would not have had experience also. Because aware nothing, you cannot. Have you ever experienced awareness of nothing? You have not. Because nothing can never give rise to awareness. There has to be something. And that something has awareness in it. That is the reason why we are all saying that from nothing, nothing can come. What comes out nothing is nothing. What comes out something will be something. That something is common to all, being awareness. We say it is from consciousness or awareness that everything has come. Therefore, we experience everything as awareness.
The whole thing presents a horrible dilemma, because we understand ourselves to be individuals. We're taught that from the beginning, but it's complete mythology. The Advaita it upends every single notion of science and reason until you understand what reason is. It absolutely destroys the notion of human being, all of it. You understand all of that to be simply experiences in that same Brahman that you refer to, Sat. There's really only perception. That's, there's really only that awareness, and all of the objects of awareness or experiences aren't that awareness. So it destroys what we know ourselves to be. And, even with Advaita, because, masters and all of us are trying to understand, what are we? I am that. And we're looking for the identity of the isolated individual. And there is no identity for that. Not really. Other than just, what Nisargadatta referred to as, just that. Even the notion of self, even, when we talk about the self, they're misdirecting and not completely appropriate, because the self has, that meaning, myself. And we would grow up to understand what that would mean, but it's not that. So it wrecks us until you get it, and you can hear it in your voice that you get it, Sat. And so it's yeah.
Did you want to follow up, Sat, or should I go ahead?
If Rahul wants, he can ask. Also, I can.
Okay.
Rahul, you want to ask?
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Namaste, Vinodji. So, Vinod, like my question is, the typical understanding is world is like a projection. Fine, like okay, there is a TV screen on which there is a projection. Projection is never real, but the thing is, the problem with that analogy is the images coming on the TV are still stored in some cassette or something, right? From which the images are retrieved and displayed. Because what I see right now in front of me won't be there after 1 hour. And whatever I saw before 1 hour won't be here right now. So these past, present and future are continuously changing. But in the TV example, we still have the past, present and future saved in some cassette, though, and that information is used to display on the screen, which anyway is illusory. But that cassette is still there storing. So that is, we are back to duality. So how to explain that?
See, first and foremost, I don't use the analogy of a movie theater or a TV show or cassette for our experiences. Basically, what it is that what is in your mind is the reason why you see the world in certain color. Certain color means according to your mental makeup, you see your world or experiences. It can be emotions, feelings, and thoughts, and objects, and anything for that matter. What I see, the same world, I see it in my mind, mental color. You and I are seeing the same objects. You may have a liking towards it, I may not have a liking towards it. The object has no, cause for to be liked or disliked. It is just an object is an object, that's all. But we like it and dislike it because of our mental makeup. Now, keeping this in mind, when awareness projects through the mind, what is already there, we see it in the way in which our mind wants to see it. When you do not know the reality of the things, for you can say that what you see is real. But a person who knows the reality, he knows that appearance, what is the world is being seen is an appearance. Because for him, the definition is that which does not last ever is not real. Means waking vanishes when I am going to dream. Dream vanishes, same way the deep sleep. So it is keeping on changing depending upon say. But when you wake up, you say the world is the same in the waking. No, it is actually not the same. It has gone through, you have gone through changes, the objects have gone through the change, but some sort of a memory from where we pick up and correlate that, the objects are the same is the reason why we are not really inquiring to find out the reason for it. The typical statement of Sureshwaracharya is that avicharita samsiddham idam sarvam vicharena nashyate. That is, we get the entire world of objects of experiences because we don't think about it. If you think really into it, the whole thing gets, like a pack of cards, it falls down. That is what he says that. So really speaking, we are not doing enough inquiry. What Srini was asking the first question, Padartha Shodhanam. That is the reason why we are not able to know the reality of the world. When you inquire really into it, you will say, neither there is something called past, neither there is something called future. It is all our mental makeup. What is the reality is only this moment, very moment. And this moment is also because we consider time as a factor. The time and the space are all creations of the mind. So if you look into it, really speaking, our experiences of the world is not constant and permanent. Yet we say that they are this thing. The same is the case for the dream, but we are ready to say that the dream is not real because it is getting replaced or, nullified by the knowledge in the waking. But the waking, we are not able to nullify it, and therefore we say that the waking world is real. Only if you really think about it, you will know that even that doesn't stand permanently. It keeps on changing. So what all that is not remain, which without changing, is you who had been experiencing it all the through, but you have not undergone any change. The change is noticed by you. Therefore, the permanent thing is you. You are the permanent truth, or you are the truth, and everything else is changing. Therefore, the world is unreal. Because it is changing, it is unreal. Unreal in the sense that it is not that they are not giving real experiences. Experiences are there, but they are not buying from the real products, in the sense that experiences do not permanently happen every time. They also keep changing. What toys you liked, you don't like it anymore. What girlfriend you had, you don't like her anymore. Or what food you liked, sometime you don't like it anymore. Anything can be that way. So you will see that things are changing, but you are the unchanging one. Therefore, you should find out that where is the truth lying, and then only evaluate the rest of the world. That is what called Padartha Shodhana, or inquiry into the objects.
Thanks, Binduji. But you just mentioned that the world is appearing because of, I think you said because of our mental makeup, right? So essentially you're talking about the sanskaras or vasanas. But those are still there, right? Like, for example, right now I don't even remember what I even remember. Like, but day after tomorrow I will just simply remember what I did. So where are they being stored? Though I'm not aware of them, they are still stored somewhere and they are coming back over and over. So that is duality once again, right?
No, that is stored in your memory. What is stored in your memory doesn't store in my memory, right? Or anybody else's memory. That is why it is called samskara or vasanas. And that is the reason why you are seeing the world in certain likes and dislikes. I see it in a different likes and dislikes. Somebody else will see it in a different likes and dislikes.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I'm asking. There is some store or some box or something where they are stored, which is different from my consciousness, isn't it? Because I don't have.
It is in your mind. It is in your mind. Consciousness has no role to play. Consciousness reflects through your mind. Even your mind becomes the prism to reflect the projection. So the light which is falling onto the object depends upon your likes and dislikes or samskara in your mind.
Yeah, so we are back to duality, right? There is consciousness and mind. There are two things here.
No, consciousness and mind are dual when you are projecting it through. But the same mind, when you are looking towards consciousness, the mind and the consciousness becomes one. There is no two other. So it is an apparent, these things saying duality, that the mind is separate from the consciousness. If you have attended my Prashnopanishad, you would have understood that how it is being explained, that it is the same consciousness when limited in a container type of a situation. You feel that it is the mind. That is why your mind, my mind, everything is varying, changing. And when it projects through the mind, then your projection is different, my projection is different, somebody else is different. So, and all of them are, the mind is a projection of the same consciousness. And then it uses that projection to further project it. And it is the mind which uses the eyes to project through the project through the eyes to see the objects. It is the same mind when projects through the ears, listens to the sound. It is the same mind when it projects through the skin, it feels the touch, like that. So it is further getting divided. It is the same instrument getting divided, apparently divided, not in reality.
Not coming through. Yeah, but one last follow-up question, Vindaji. So you're telling if it is projection from the mind, but time sequence seems to be opposite, right? Like, apparently event seems to be happening some t seconds, and I listen it after a few seconds. So, but you're telling if mind is projecting, then time should be reversed, isn't it? But time is in the opposite direction in what you're telling.
No. See, time is a function after the mind has been created. Before that, there was no time. The time of your dream is different from your time of your waking. Your time is not there in your deep sleep. So, but you as a consciousness is present in all the three. Your mind of your waking is different from your mind of your dream. So, it is the same consciousness which is projecting the waking mind. It is the same mind as a consciousness which is projecting the dream mind. And the dream mind gets projected by the dream world, and everything is created by the dream mind. The waking world and the waking experiences are created by the same the consciousness mind, which is the one. But since we become a dreamer in the dream, we think the dream world is real. Same way, we become the waker in the waking world. Therefore, the waking objects appear to be real, but it is all projection of this thing. And what happens to the waking world and the dream world when you become the deep sleeper is that none of them are being projected. Therefore, you remain in yourself. That is when the mind is no mind. And that is the state which is being experienced by the deep sleeper. So that is where the duality merges into non-dual. And the duality appears to be there when it starts projecting.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Vindaji.
Namaste, Prakash.
Namaste, Pranam,
Namaste,
Vindaji.
Vindaji.
Thanks, everyone. I just wanted to extend that metaphor that you used about a prism, right? So in that context, if we think that consciousness is shining through the prism to focus and create the present and the view that we have of different things. So the prism needs, some polishing, right? So in that context, we have the Citta Vritti Nirodha and then all the Vasana and then what we call Prarabdha. Can you talk a little bit about that? How that can be used as a kind of a gateway to understand consciousness?
To understand consciousness, that is not the method, but nevertheless, the quality of the prism, as you rightly said, will definitely condition the quality of the projection. And that is what we call it as memories and vasanas and, subconscious mind or innate tendencies or hidden tendencies in the human beings or anybody for that matter. So these are all the qualities of the prism. Whereas prarabdha is something different. It is not to this thing. That is having become a projection of the waker. What he goes through is conditioned by the prarabdha. Prarabdha means prakarshena, arabdha means by virtue of having entered the waker form, what is in store for you or what has started for you to project is what is called the prarabdha. So prarabdha is conditioned by the beginning of the projection, and then it is what is conditioning your experiences of that projection, that particular day's projection. The next day's projection is again separate, and there is a separate projection for that. But people generally do not make difference between each day's projection as separate. They consider one life as a complete projection, as a prarabdha. So that is how the stories in the Puranas and Shastras have been referring to it. So prarabdha means prakarshena-rabdha. What means having started the projection or the life. What has begun as a story for you. You as Prakash, what has been your life is what you have projected for yourself to experience in this life. That is what is called prarabdha.
Thank you, Vinodji. So is prarabdha then, is the polishing of the prism. I'm wondering if the polishing of the prism, which is to overcome all the vasanas and chittavrittis in whichever way one can, does that give a better appreciation of consciousness, or is it just clearing the worldview? That's my question.
It is clearing the worldview. In fact, when you know that your life can be improved upon or changed upon by polishing the prism, is exactly what all the sadhanas are referring to. The this manana nididhyasana, shravana manana nididhyasana, or chittavritti nirodha, all of them are basically for improving the nature with which you look at your life. See, you cannot change what has started as a projection, but the way in which you look at the projection can be improved upon if you know the reality of the projection and the reason behind it. That is where the polishing of the prism, manana, shravana manana nididhyasana, or the chittavritti nirodha, will help in the approach towards prarabdha. Prarabdha, what has started as a projection, cannot be changed, because that is what with which you have taken the decision to come into this world. That has not changed, but the approach towards that, the same situation in life, what you would have done 10 years back, and what now you will do when you know that Shravana Manana Nididhyasana has taken some improvement in you, then the way in which a similar situation comes today, you will look at it in a much different way rather than 10 years back you would have looked at it. That is how both the equations are. But these things will not give any knowledge of consciousness. Knowledge of consciousness has to happen by knowledge only, not by the prism or the vasanas. So you can reduce the vasanas and you can improve upon your Shravana Manana Nididhyasana towards more understanding about your own true nature. Definitely that will help you, but depends upon how much of your baggage you have brought it along with you. That also will decide whether you will be successful in that or not.
Thank you. One more follow-up question is, so in the karma, the karmic path, so this polishing can be looked at as part karma. But is there a karma other than that which allows one to see or visualize prarabdha? And then what is the karma of understanding consciousness or recognizing consciousness?
See, karma can, when it is done in the form of a devotion to a higher pedestal will remove you the burden of the outcome, because you are not the one who desires the outcome of the karma. You have already surrendered it to the higher altar. So what comes, good, bad or ugly, goes to the altar. But you will not definitely would like to have something ugly or bad to go to the altar, because you consider it as a pedestal where you want to surrender everything. So your karmas will get tuned and toned in such a way that you will always want the best to be offered. That way you will start changing yourself, and your vasanas will become what you call sublime, in such a way that you don't use your negativity towards your activity, so that the results are positive in nature. Over a period, this will tune your mind for more devotion, and more devotion will make you more what you call attentive to Shastras, and more you listen to the Shastras, more will be your insight towards knowing the reality. That is how the stages you have to consider in the process.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. This one last lingering question is about consciousness. Is there anything that you recommend? Because you said that is not related to anything to do with these kind of actions. So is there any further steps other than, deeply understanding the scriptures?
Yeah, the best way I practice and I prescribe is the Pradibodha Viditam Matam. Every experience, every momentary experience, there are three aspects of it. You as the subject, the experiencing as a link between you and the experience which is coming to you. It can be objective or subject, or like feelings and thoughts or emotions, etc. also. But I consider all of them as object. So the subject, object and the connection is there in every momentary experience. We are enamored by the objects in our life. A good thought coming, or a good food being eaten, or a good scenery being seen. Whatever may be the good or bad or ugly, we are enamored by the object. Never in our life have we given a thought about we or I as a subject who is mandatory for that experience to fructify. Otherwise, these objects are there in the world, even whether I am there or not. But it becomes an experience to me only when I as a subject is present. So every experience of mine has these three ingredients, and till now my attention has been on the objects and the nature of objects. By attending to this Kenopanishad mantra, what I perceive is that I started observing this subject more than the object, because object became less important to me, because I am looking at what is the subject or who am I. In that process, when I did that, my predominance on my own contribution for my awareness became so prominent that there is never a moment when I can think of anything happening without me. So I am shining myself all through at every moment of my experience. I am the one which is shining it. And in my shining, everything else becomes lit, or I am the light and everything is lit because I am there. That is where my awareness or my consciousness became more relevant, important, and inevitable to me. That is the way you have to practice it.
Pranam Binduji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pranam.
I just wanted to say Nitya joined us. Thank you, Prakash. Vinaji, did you have a
So,
question? Yeah.
Yeah, today I do have. Rather, it is continuation of what Vinaji is saying. But anyway, basically I wanted to extend Rahul's question. See, Rahul's question is very clear that even when I'm not looking at the movie is in a DVD. So here what you said was that the mental layer is a new layer that is coming. But the input to the mental layer is coming from a particular layer, which you call it generally as consciousness. But you indirectly said that it is also within you. Okay. And that part needs to be clarified because somewhere it is held basically. Otherwise, how can it be the same and all? Or even the sameness can be illusion also because awareness can create any kind of illusion. So out of nothing, one can just create everything and make you feel also that everything actually started from some time before and you slept in between and all that. So all the possibilities exist. So because it is held, one may argue, for example, that it is there in the awareness but not accessible to the mind. So you try to think of it, it won't be there. Your memory only extends in this particular life, whatever you can remember, but not the real background. So many other things which are there. Of course, you cannot be individual when you think about all these kind of things. Am I right, Binduji, or it's like a bit different than what I said?
you're assuming that your mind is constant. What I said was, the waker and the waker mind ceases to operate when it is dream and the dreamer mind, which clearly shows that mind is not the same all the time. And therefore, every day when you wake up, you are projecting that day with that day's mind. But since you have got some memories which are available in your waking, you are correlating that memory bank and the relation sync to make a continuity apparently out of the yesterday's waking and today's waking. This is because we have a concept of time of
No,
continuity
Binduji,
in
you are
our
repeating.
waking.
No, this you already told earlier also.
Yeah.
But I didn't say that the mind is the responsible entity here. I in fact said that mind is reflecting on another reality, which is our so-called outside for us. But even that outside also is inside us. Is it
Yes.
so or no? Okay.
It is inside us only.
Correct. And it's but it's not accessible to the normal mind. Because if it was accessible, then I can read anybody's mind. Everything will be accessible to me. Right?
Right. You are right.
Meaning the mind is a subset of the so-called mind, whatever we normally call it as mind is a subset of a reality which is also held by the same awareness, but not accessible to the mind. That's what I was trying to say. But when we say about all these things, we cannot assume we are an individual anymore because we are actually awareness. Right?
Yes, you are right.
That is also a very important aspect. So Rahul's question, yes, it is there, but it is not like as if something is happening out there. It is just held. That is why when you get up in the morning, it is like you are forwarding a DVD and starting from there. But the whole of DVD itself is in somewhere. It's not like a story is already written kind of thing or whatever it is. Whatever be the arrangement, which we don't have access to. So Rahul is not certain.
The problem which we all face is that when we use the examples like DVD and cassette and etc., is that our mind presumes so many things. But your way of saying that it is a subset of the other way is a better way of explaining rather than a DVD.
No, it is only to say that the movie in a DVD is different than the movie which is experienced, and yet there is something common between the two. The abstract nature of the reality is what we want to highlight there, using that example. The physical DVD is immaterial actually. That the reality is abstract is what probably we can agree upon, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I just want to mention that we're near the end of this Q&A. There'll be another one on Friday at the same time. If anyone has a short last question from the audience, you're welcome to raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to close hand raising and we'll end in just a couple minutes. So I'll give people a moment or two if there's anyone who has a shorter question they'd like to ask. Great. Bring up Summer and then we'll end.
Yeah, hi. I'm out, so it's a bit noisy, so I'll just ask my question and then, just mute myself immediately. Binduji, I just want to know, why does avidya take place? Like, it's all happening because of that avidya thing. And then why is avidya taking place in the first place?
Avidya is not taking place in the first place. Only when things place, you know it as avidya. Because you don't know where it is happening or why it is happening. That is avidya. Avidya is vidya abhava, or the absence of vidya, or knowledge. When the knowledge is not there, you feel certain things. So, why the knowledge is not there? It's a $1 million question, because with so many things which you do not know. If I ask you, why did you do not know? I suppose if I know, why did you not know some African language or some Chinese or Japanese or something, that you will say, I don't know. So that is avidya, means knowledge of that language is not there in you. So that is what in our terms we say it is anadi, means without a beginning. The not having a knowledge is from the time immemorial. What it can be done is that by having the knowledge, we can end the avidya. The avidya can be ended, but you cannot start the avidya, because avidya is in time immemorial, or the ignorance is time immemorial. All you can do is end your ignorance with the knowledge.
Thank you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. Thank you, Bindo. I'm thinking just to end a moment or two early and give you that time to go just be, and we'll be with you again on Friday. So,
Yeah, thank
is
you.
that, yeah. Okay, thank you everybody for being here. You can join us again on Friday at 8:30 IST for another Q&A here. And if you aren't in this house, please join. And can you just tell us your plans for next week, Bindo?
Next Wednesday, I will be starting Aitariya Upanishad. But Srini, sorry, I won't be doing the preamble of it, but I'll say concisely what is being talked about it by Adi Shankara in the introduction, because it is not relevant in today's life. That's why I don't want to waste time on that. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
I'll
understand, Binduji. Actually,
yeah.
I heard many gurus say that it is not relevant for today's life. Yeah, so I think it is good to skip.
Yeah,
But
it is fully talking about, the Vedic period lifestyle and things like that. We should not, it has no relevance today, because
yeah,
neither the Vedas are being chanted nor being practiced or anything by most of the people. So,
yeah, even I tried reading by myself. I couldn't read also. So yeah, I
yeah,
understand. It's very difficult.
that's why. So, Wednesday we'll start with that Atmava Iravinga Gra Asit Na Kinjana Mishad. That mantra will start from Wednesday, Friday. It's a very short Upanishad, but there is important mantras in it. That's why it is important. So Wednesday we'll start that. Atmishya. We'll start next Wednesday at Aitariya Upanishad. I'll give you the details. I'll send you the PDF also.
Wonderful. Terrific. Thank you everyone who joined. We'll have another Q&A this Friday right here. I saw Venkat came in at the end. If you show up Friday, it'd be wonderful. I wanted to follow up on some things you had said. And Hari Om, and thank you so much, Binduji. We'll close the room.
Hari Om. Thank you all. Good night. See you on Friday.